Welcome, internet users, to yet another Nuzlocke by a guy who really plays bad at RPGs and rather talks about in-depth videos about them instead. But since I have no idea how power scaling works, I'm just gonna do a hardware Nuzlocke of Pokemon Platinum instead. So I ask, can you beat the game by only using Pokemon that was introduced in the Hoenn region? This is part of an ongoing series where I Nuzlocke the next game using the previous generation's Pokemon to see if they've truly gotten weaker over time. I'm a little worried about this run, mostly due to the fact we only have 15 eligible Pokemon for this run. But even then, a few of them have a lot of shared locations. But regardless, let's see how well these Hoenn renegades can take on Sinnoh's finest collection of trainers. We start off in Twin Leaf Town, with our rival threatening to fine us money to get us going. Some friend he is. We do a quick fight with him with a neat little turtle I found, but unfortunately, he ain't Hoenn blood. It's not until we reach Route 204 where we find our first Pokemon, a Badoo. And sure, Harper over here is also Sinnoh-blooded, but I have ways to make her find out the ways of the culture of Hoenn. And thus, Harper evolves into a beautiful Rosalia. And with a grass type against a rock type gym leader, spamming Mega Drains have never felt any better. Though if we got crit or flinched by Granados, we might have been in trouble, but we're so early in the run, it does not matter. I won't lie though, the Team Galactic runs can be rather tough to deal with, especially with the grass Pokemon without a normal move. We do have Return, but I didn't want to bother with it just at the moment. We need some extra firepower, and by slathering some honey in Valley Windworks, that didn't take 18 full hours to find, we can capture Harry the Rumple, and by carefully evolving him past the expected evolution, he can learn Bug Bite and evolve into a pretty freaky looking bug.
And stop staring at me with them big old eyes!
With Harry in tow, our first Mars fight would have been a little bit more difficult, but thanks to my friendship with Harry at this point, by learning about the culture of Hoenn, a couple of fully powered returns take out the Zubat, and with a combination of Protect for Fake Out, Bug Bite to steal the berry, and more returns, we beat the scariest, thickest cat around as well. After that, we make our way through Return of Forest to catch ourselves a Silcoon that I named Henry. Now I know I'm technically violating the rules by using the same species of Pokemon, but considering how low our options are at the current moment, if a Pokemon is from a different area and also evolves into a completely different Pokemon, I think it should be allowed. Plus, if Hoenn has taught us anything with Plus and Minun, you can't have one without the other. Continuing further on Route 211, we catch a Meditite named Harrison. He may be weak currently, but giving some time and some level caps, he'll be very strong. You know what else is strong? Henry. Because using exactly 10 gusts to the Held Cherry Berry to easily dispatches all of Gardenia's grass types. That'll teach you to evolve your beautiful Hoenn Pokemon to a gross Sinnoh Pokemon. But now, this is where the run might struggle, because our next fight is against Commander Jupiter and her scary Skuntank. Night Slash basically two-shots all of our Pokemon up to this point, and her lead Zubat is actually kinda scary. But we have one weapon that might save us all in this position. Nosepass. Yeah, and since we caught him at Mount Coronet, we don't have access to these two powerful Pokemon. Welcome to the team, Hudson. Glad to have you. Anyways, the fight kicks off with Harry versus Zubat. Two Zybeams take out the Zubat while I only get hit with a soft wing attack. This leads into Skuntank, and by using Bug Bite to remove the Citrus Berry, and by having Moonlight and Protect, yep, we're stalling it. Night Slash is Skuntank's only attacking move, and although it has a high critical hit chance, we can circumvent this by switching to Hudson and taking a few hits, while also lowering your speed with Thunder Wave. And I swear, this Skuntank did not want to get fully paralyzed for the longest time. We get to a point where Hudson can't take a critical hit Night Slash anymore, so we switch back to Harry to tank the rest of the hits. And although she does get one crit right after the switch, we successfully stall her out of all of her Night Slashes, switch to Henry to KO with Gus, ending this fight completely deathless. That was tough, but thankfully there aren't any more purple-haired trainers with fully evolved Pokemon with a move pool that would take out my entire team. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So Fantina, her team is terrible. For us, at least. Shadow Balls from Miss Mages will basically two-shot all of our Pokemon, and with coverage like Psybe and Magical Leaf, no one except Henry will take super effective damage. Even catching a Ralt on 208 can't handle anything these ghosts throw at her. But regardless, we started the toughest fight so far. She leads with a Duskull and I lead with Harper. Two Giga Drains effortlessly take out the Duskull while she only misses a Will-O-Wisp. That's great. This leads straight into Haunter. I thought it was going to be Miss Mages with super effective Psybeam, but that's no problem. Since we still have our Lumberry I got from the Berry Master on Route 208, we could shrug off a Confuse Ray and land with a Grass Whistle. And it fails. Twice. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's on me for relying on a 55 accurate move. I switch in Harry on a soft Shadow Claw, and then afterwards he puts us to sleep with Hypnosis. But then again, we have a berry for that, and 2 side beams, we got the Haunter, where we only take half with a Shadow Claw. And after that, the big threat comes out with Miss Magus. This requires a team effort to take down, so here's what I do. I start by thankfully taking a critical hitless side beam to steal Miss Magus' berry. Then I switch into Hudson on a soft side beam. We need to tank another hit from Magical Leaf, which Hudson thankfully does and lands a Thunder Wave. Sadly, it's likely going to go for a random move since we're at so low HP, so I switch into Harper on a random side beam. And since that poor luck, all we can use is a crucial Leech Seed and watch our starter fall to another side beam. It's a little sad, but we have to still get through this fight. Now I switch into Henry for my ultimate strategy, with Henry using his Captivating Woes to lower the Ghost Mage's special attack. Who says love on the battlefield doesn't exist? But we manage to get her down to -4 before confusing us, so with all those lowered stats, we can enter the final phase, take a single Shadow Ball with Harry, which we do, and after Moonlighting for support and a Lucky Paralysis, we can set up Substitute to block the pesky Confuse Ray, and after that we just shell with Leech Seed damage until she falls. Even if she got multiple critical hits back to back, I would have had to sacrifice one of my other bugs, which is why I had Thief on Henry, but for the most part, we were pretty much safe for the rest of the fight, and we earned a hard-fought Badge 3. But before we move on, let's mourn the loss of our beautiful Rosalia. Okay, I'm done, let's move on. We do have an easy rival fight we can ignore, and after that, we can open up the eastern side of the Sinnoh region, where we can get the rest of our team. By talking to this old fisherman on Route 209, we can get the Good Rod, and then we can ride back to Eterna City to catch Horace the Barboach. Skipping ahead, we can go to Route 213 to catch Hazel the Wingle, and the Great Marsh, we can catch Hope the Tropius. And thanks to the level cap of being level 32, we can evolve a few of our team members, mainly Hannah the Guard of War, and by gambling away our life savings, we can get powerful TMs at the game quarter, mainly Psychic. But with that, we could skip straight to main lane, and I won't even lie, this is really easy with Hannah. She leads with Meditite and I lead with Hannah. I set up a Calm Mind as she hits a Rock Tomb, lowering her speed. I thought she was going to go for Fake Out, but okay. We tank a Soft Confusion as the Psychic goes for the one-shot, leading straight to Machoke. He only sets up a Focus Energy as we destroy his mind with another Psychic. Lucario is last in line and he hits a Metal Claw that takes us down to half as we heal up with our Citrus Berry. A Psychic brings him down to the red, but then something a little weird happens. Instead of healing, she hits a critical hit Metal Claw that brings us down to just 7 HP, as another Psychic takes out Lucario and wins us the fight. That's weird, normally the AI heals at low HP. She definitely had one on her. Hi, post-editing Dangerboat here. I just wanted to throw out here and say that, I was wrong. Maylene doesn't even have healing items in her fight. She does in Pokemon Diamond, but not in Platinum. So, just gonna put that there for now. With a level cap rising to level 37, we could finally evolve Harrison into a Medicham, and with that we can get some much needed type coverage, with mainly the Elemental Punchers, and with Pure Power, we'll be hitting with at least 120 base power on a lot of the Pokemon. But unfortunately, Medicham is not fast. So when we're up against Crash or Wake, it's mainly Hannah that comes back and takes out the Gyarados with a quad-effective Thunderbolt, and then Floatzel comes out next. He outspeeds and lands a Crunch, but thanks to the lady in Pastoria City, we can get berries that reduces a certain type of moves by half. In this case, we have a Colbur Berry that cuts Floatzel's Crunch straight in half. Even with a crit, we wouldn't have been killed, and we KO with another Thunderbolt. Quasire's out last, but that's because I was at such kind of low HP, I didn't want to risk anything, so I switched into Hope to KO with a Magical Leap on the very next turn. We do have a small side quest with Cynthia and her grandmother in Celestic Town, but I mean, she could definitely do all of this herself, but no! She has better things to do than talk to her own family. Probably has some bad blood here. But on the good side, we can catch Huey the Swablu, who quickly evolves into the only other non-legendary Dragon-type Pokemon in the whole region. Certainly, he has some big shoes to fill, but nothing really happens between the events of facing Cyrus in Celestic Town, or facing our rival on the wobbly bridge of Canalave. But something weird does happen in the battle. As I fight with his lead Staraptor with Hudson, the Staraptor switches out. I rarely see this. Usually they switch into a Pokemon that's usually immune to the attack, but never resisted. But even then, it wasn't so bad. He only had Giga Drains for attacking, and since we had flying types, the Toxic Spike that he set up wasn't really going to be much of an issue. It gets even stranger when I was playing Floatzel with Hope. He switched again. 2 times in one fight is pretty rare, but even then, Hazel deals with the Rogue Infernape and the weakened Floatzel afterwards, as well as the Heracross, ending this very strange fight. But afterwards, with a ground type with Earthquake and a fighting type with high jump kick, Byron was really easy. Horus makes his debut battle as a Wish cast, spamming Earthquake, Surf, then Earthquake again. We could have been really hurt by Metal Burst, but since he only uses Stone Edge, we were okay at the very end. I know I'm skipping around a lot in this challenge, but the Team Galactic admin battles at the lakes were really simple compared to the previous fights earlier on, because we mostly have a stronger team. But now we can enter the northern region of the Sinnoh region and catch our final encounters. Just on the outskirts of Snow Point City, we can catch a snow run at night specifically. Kyle's main job is to be the designated Garchomp killer at the end game, but we can also backtrack to the Lost Tower at night, as well as catch a Duskull named Kim. Now I know you may be wondering, why didn't I catch this girl sooner? Well, I have my reasonings. It's just I can't think of one. The Ice Gym is up next, and it's against the lady I know the name of, but I can't say it because the funniest people in the Pokemon community will make one of 7 jokes gym leader. Or Silkanob Skilkle, if you will. She leads with a Sneasel as I lead with Harry. She outspeeds and lands a Slash as I land a strong Bug Buzz for about half. Then she rips an Aerial Ace, but our held Kobo Berry reduces the damage, taking the KO 1 turn later. Pylos winds up next and she threatens with Stone Edge, so I switch to Hudson to take the hit. Then I switch to Hazel on a whiffed Earthquake. Then she can take the KO with a Choice Specs boosted Surf. This leads into the deadliest Pokemon, Frostlass, and thankfully there's no hail, so we don't have to worry about Snowcloak. But I do try to hit a strong Surf, but I get hit with a strong Blizzard that would've just killed if it crit. Whoops. We take her down to about half as I switch to Kyle for the gender differences matchup. And he takes a pretty easy Blizzard as well. She then tries to set up a double team, but Kyle is not having any of that and knocks it out with a super effective Crunch. Abomasnow is out last and threatens with a super effective Focus Blast, so I attack to get some HP back with my Ice Body ability, and I switch to Kim to avoid the Focus Blast, and after that we trade Fire Punches and Wood Hammers respectively. Now in this position, I use Shadow Sneak instead of Fire Punch as she heals up. After the whole Maylene incident, I'm not risking getting outsped and getting killed by a critical hit Wood Hammer, so don't blame me for that. Even then, we can't really take another hit, so I switch back into Harry on a soft Wood Hammer. I can't stall too long with Moonlight because the hail will actually nerf the amount of healing it will do, so I end up using U-turn on Kyle on a Wood Hammer. I am getting so sick and tired of these damn random moves. But we survive and KO with a priority Ice Shard to defeat Candace and win the 7th gym badge. Damn it, I said her name! This is the part of the story where Team Galactic decided to go on full-on loco and try to create a brand new world. So we fought Cyrus, and just like the last fight, it was pretty easy. Harrison takes out the lead Sneasel with a Drain Punch, and a combination support with Hudson and Horus takes out the Crobat, as well as Honcho getting outspeed by Huey for an easy fight. And Saturn was so easy I just left him as a footnote. That's all fine and dandy, but we run into a bit of a problem. We need to ascend Mount Coronet to chase after Team Galactic. We need Surf, Strength, and Rock Climb. We can learn 2 former, but no one on our team can learn Rock Time. So he may not look like a Zigzagoon, but he's special like one. Cyrus was already hard enough with 3 Pokemon dealing with, but now it's going to be a solid 5v5. But even before we get to that, we have to face the other 2 commanders on a 12v6. Or it's more like an 11v6 because I'm 100% sure this Munchlax is just bragging rights for getting lucky. My main strategy was using Huey for Flamethrower, Fly, and Protect to whittle away at Mars' team to make it a 2v1. And this actually works flawlessly, especially when my rival's Infernape comes out and deals the Perugly, before falling too. But hey, it's the thought that counts. Eventually, Huey gets too weak to fight, so eventually Kyle and Horace swap in to take out the rest of Jupiter's team. Okay, now looking at the script, why did I name my Glalie Kyle? The theme was all H names, but since he's an ice type and there's not really many ice types in the region, I guess let's just say he's adopted. Oh, and the H is silent, so it's Kyle. Yeah, that works. Anyways, Cyrus caused the apocalypse, and Giratina told him to stop them, and after a brief Distortion World walk, it's time for the final Cyrus fight. He leads with a Houndoom, and I lead with Horus. A critical hit Dark Pulse is not great, only because I was anticipating a Will-O-Wisp, but no flinch means that we can KO the very same turn with Earthquake. Gyarados is up next with a deadly moveset of Earthquake, Waterfall, Ice Fang, and Giga Impact. This thing is a monster. I protect the Scout out its next move, and it seems to be going for any sort of random move. So I switch it to Hannah on a softer Earthquake, thankfully, and we can take the KO with a super effective Thunderbolt right after. This baits in Honchkrow with super effective Night Slash, and since we outspeed with Kyle, we can take the Night Slash and deliver our third one-hit KO of the fight. Then this baits out Weavile, and I made a very bad mistake. I protect to bait out the Thunderbolts, but I was actually supposed to switch right into Harrison to teach that easy move. But since, the AI tends to use very random moves at very random points, I could have to probably switch in Harrison on probably an Ice Punch, but now we have to take 2 Night Slashes instead. And Harrison on the second just barely survives with 4 HP and takes the kill with a Drain Punch. That was way too close. Outlast is Crobat, and this is Hudson's last job. Crobat is just way too fast and annoying to deal with, and although we did manage to get poisoned, we paralyzed it in return. I also underestimated how strong Nosepass is potentially with Thunderbolt, because it forces Cyrus to heal ridiculously enough. But I thankfully don't miss with another Thunder Wave, and since with that small blunder, I have to let Hudson go down. He wasn't really going to be doing that much in the rest of the run anyways, so at least he gets to rest well on the stars of Easter Island. And with that, we outspeed with Kyle with a priority Ice Shard to finally defeat Cyrus once and for all. Thank you, Hudson. Sorry I ever doubted you. Oh hey, Giratina! But, he ain't no Rayquaza, so get him out of here. After that, we make our way to the final gym in Sunny Shore City. But honestly, Horace proved his worth by sweeping through all of Volcaner's team. Granted, it was a lucky miss from Jolteon's Iron Tail and not getting crit by the end by Luxray, but hey, a win is a win. Wish Guys may not be the best sweeper when it comes to Volcaner's team in Nuzlocke, but hey, at least he's like a C tier, which is good enough for me. But now we managed to get through Victory Road by only facing a few trainers, and the final battle is the game awaiting us. Though not before our rival challenges us to one last fight. He leads with a Staraptor and I lead with Kyle. With the level advantage and some EV investments, we could just barely outspeed and one-shot the bird with an Ice Beam, leading straight to Infernape. Pelipper has dealt with this monkey before, but he takes a Focus Touch and outspeed with a Surf on the very next turn. Thank you, level advantage. Heracrossing out next, so I didn't want to miss with Fly, so I switched to Hannah instead to take the Rock Slide, and outspeed with the Psychic very next turn. Floatzel is up next, and he outspeeds with a Crunch, but again, a planned Colberry blocks the strong hit as we knock it out with a Thunderbolt. And then Roserade comes out, and we chain KOs with another Psychic. But then there's the problem of my rival, Snorlax. The useless Munchlax from before, remember? I switch it to Harrison on a Crunch. That gets a defense drop. Now thankfully I did plan for this in advance, since Strand Punch wouldn't have killed and a critical hit Body Slam would have killed me if it was a -1, I put the Zoom Lens on High Jump Kick to ensure I don't miss and get the one-hit KO. What?! Okay. This is really bad. Fortunately, I did come prepared for this case and say something bad would happen. I switched it to Henry to Stun Spore to at least try to cripple it, but of course, Body Slam starts to paralyze it again. It wouldn't be a Pokemon game without Body Slam having a 100% chance to paralyze. I try to heal up with Morning Sun, but ultimately it's fruitless, so I just use Bug Buzz and it does half, meaning if I did get paralyzed, I would have just two-shot him right then and there. So I just end up getting killed with one turn later, and at least Hannah is enough to outspeed and KO the Snorlax with a powerful Psychic, ending this pretty bad fight. Before I continue, what happened here? I equipped the zoom lens on Harrison so high jump kick would have never missed, right? It even says on the item description. Well, some information might have misled me. You see, there's two different items that boost accuracy in Gen 4 onward, the zoom lens and the wide lens. Now, it may seem weird having two items that virtually do the same thing, but my general impression that one was more accurate than the other. In this case, the wide lens is 10% more accurate, while the zoom lens is 20% more accurate. When I mean 10 or 20%, I mean it's the percentage of the move's current accuracy. So high jump kick has 90% accuracy, so if I equip the wide lens, it wouldn't be 100% accurate, it would actually only be 99% accurate, because 10% of 90% is 9%. So if I equip the zoom lens, it would cap off at 100, right? Because 20% of 90% is 18%. Well, that's what I thought until I did a little bit more research after the fight. According to sites like Therapy, the zoom lens only boosts the chance of critical hits in Diamond, Pearl, and apparently Platinum. But on sites like Bulbapedia, the Diamond and Pearl description is incorrect, so that already confused me. So the two theories I have was A, in Platinum specifically, the item was updated to match the incorrect description in Diamond and Pearl, so it had no accuracy boost, but only a critical hit chance boost. Or the more likely reason is B, both the zoom lens and the wide lens have a 10% accuracy boost, and if that was the case, this one high jump kick hit in 99 different outcomes, and I just got the one that happened to miss. And this taught me a valuable lesson. Always double check your research, and try to find safer plays. Like if I just used Drain Punch here and risk crit, Henry wouldn't have needed to die. But neither of them were really gonna make to the final team anyways. But rant aside, here's the final team, all leveled up to match Lucian's ace Gallade. Personally, I'm not feeling great about this team. The Sinnoh lead is actually filled with really tough opponents, but regardless, we have one shot to become champions of the Sinnoh region, and I'm gonna do it with my Hoenn fellas beside me. First up is the bug user Aaron. He leads with a Yanmega as I lead with Kyle. We barely outspeed and take him out with a super effective Ice Beam for the one-shot, leading straight to Scizor. He threatens with a powerful Iron Head, so I switch to Huey, who takes it relatively well, and one-shot on the following turn with Flamethrower. Oh yeah, I should mention that I edged all my Pokemon up to the next level, which is allowed in rule sets like this, yada yada yada. Next up is Drapion. Horus comes in and takes the Ice Thing and the following X Scissors right after, as we one-shot Drapion with an Earthquake boosted Earthquake. Heracross is up next, and I protect to see what he's going for, and thankfully it's close combat. So I switch to Hannah, who actually tanks it pretty well, as we knock him out with a Psychic. Finally, there's Vespiquen, but Kyle is bulky enough to take any hit this will throw at it, even with a Power Gem and a Lack Nature beside me. We take her out with a few turns later, ending the first fight. Bertha is up second, and she can be a little tricky. She leads with a Wish Cast, and I lead with Hannah. I try to set up a Calm Mind Sweep, but an Aqua Tail does way too much damage, so on the next turn we take him out with a Magical Leap. Hippowdon is up next, and I have an odd feeling that this won't kill, even at +1, so I switch it to Hazel on a Crunch. We take it, and to my surprise, a Choice Spec Surf one-shots him. I thought it would be bulkier that with Sandstorm, but then I remembered, I think it's only Rock types that get boosted in Sandstorms in Gen 4. But I'm not complaining. After that, we chain KOs on both Golem and Rhyperior shortly after. Bertha's final Pokemon is Gliscor, but since she outspeeds with Thunder Pang, I switch to Horus to block it, then we tank an Earthquake, and after some healing, a simple Surf takes out Bertha for the simple win. The third fight is with Flint, and he should be simple, right? He leads with a Houndoom and I lead with Horus. My heart drops when I see him set up a Sunny Day turn 1 as a Waterfall doesn't even kill him. Okay, so Wishcast before didn't set up a Sandstorm, but Houndoom does set up a Sunny Day? Flawless logic at play here. To avoid getting nuked by a Solar Beam by Rapidash, I have to stall off the Sun, and with a combination of Protect and even a flinch from Dark Pulse, we can take out the Houndoom with an Earthquake. As the Sun fades, Rapidash comes out next and hits a very strong Flare Blitz that we just barely tank. as a Splash Blaze boosted waterfall takes out the Rapidash. This baits in Magmotor next, and as he sees a random move for a kill, I switch into Huey on a Flamethrower. That crits. And what's worse is the following Thunderbolt gets another critical hit. And Dragon Pulse doesn't even do that much at all. So now, this one fight could potentially lead straight to disaster. I switch into Hannah on at least tank a Thunderbolt. That also causes a paralysis. Thankfully, our synchronized ability causes him to be paralyzed, but now we have to avoid being fully stunned on the next turn. Okay, that was very lucky. What's luckier is that we could actually break free with paralysis and KO with a Choice Spec Psychic. But now this baits Infernape, and my blunder is that I completely forgot I had Thunder Punch. I was so used to them not having that move, but I forgot to whip the Wakanberry before I started this fight. But now, I have to make a sacrifice. And Kim is the most likely victim to this. 2 Flare Blitz take me to the red as my Citrus Berry heals me back up. A Shadow Punch doesn't even do that much, and after a Shadow Sneak and recoil from Flare Blitz that we barely hang on to, it now puts Infernape in the red, and I lose the coin flip again, and Flint fully heals his Infernape. And after 2 more Shadow Sneaks, Kim falls to a Thunder Punch. So now, the run all falls on this. If Hannah can take a Flare Blitz and not get paralyzed the second afterwards, we might have a chance to get out of here alive. Infernape uses Flare Blitz. We tank it. And Hannah does not get fully stunned and KOs Infernape with a Psychic. All that's left is Flareon, but even with a high special attack and a random Giga Impact, because of course it does, Hazel takes him out and we manage to scrape right by. I'll be honest, this fight was terrible. I completely forgot that he had Thunder Punch, and if only I taught Kim Psychic instead of Shadow Punch, we might have saved her life. And now I'm feeling a little grim with these next few fights. Maybe we can get by. Oh, you know what that means. Yes, Lucian gets set by my Hannah with Calm Minds, because Mr. Mind's moveset is kinda bad. Yes, it was a big risk, and yes, I don't like setup sweeps, but really, this was my only option. And this was the safest to actually get to the champion, and it seems like we get to sleep against one Elite Four member every Nuzlocke I do. Funny how that works. But now, we are faced against the final battle against champion Cynthia. And I really don't need to explain why her team is so powerful, right? One image in her theme just describes how powerful she is. But even then, I have to finish this one way or another. She leads with her bulky Spiritomb and I lead with Horus. I outspeed and take the strong ghost down to half as she hurled a Shadow Ball only doing about 20%. Then another Earthquake kills the Spiritomb. Next up is Rose Raid and she threatens with a super effective Energy Ball. I switch to Huey to tank it on the next turn as she sets up a Toxic on Huey. That's fine, we fly up and dodge the Sludge Bomb right afterwards, and thankfully do not miss fly and easily one-hit KO the Rosebud. But then Garchomp emerges, and unfortunately, as the Circle of Life states, the strong will always survive, and so Huey falls from a super effective Dragon Rush. Rest well, Huey, you weren't in the run that long, but you served your purpose very well. I can now safely switch to Guile to fulfill his life goal, tanking a Flamethrower with an Aqua Berry in tow and swiftly defeating the terrifying dragon right after. That's good because it's a 4v3 now, but right afterwards is her very scary Lucario. If I hadn't sacrificed Kim, she would be able to throw Fire Punches while I witter her down, but since she's dead again, I now have to think of a backup plan. And in this very moment, I thought Hazel could take anything this thing could throw at it. And I forgot it also had Stone Edge. As you could tell, my team really doesn't like rock types. And now, the run is looking extremely dire. However, there's still a light at the end of the tunnel. I still feel like there's a small glimmer of hope that we might just barely eke out a victory against the strongest trainer in all of Sinnoh. So here's what I need. I start by leading with Hannah, and a Choice Spec Psych should just barely be enough to KO in one hit. All she needs to do is survive one Stone Edge. It connects and we live on just 24 HP. Granted, we would have been at higher HP if it wasn't for a critical hit, but I digress. We barely take the Lucario out with a single Psychic. This leads to Milotic, and since we are choiced and at such low HP, I just fire off a Psychic and it takes her down to half as the Milotic kills our lovely Hannah. We could still make it out of this. I send in Horus on a Surf, and thanks to our HP, we could take it and just fire back with an Earthquake, KOing the Milotic, and suddenly, we are at a 2v1 against her final Pokemon, Togekiss. I protect to see if there's any hope of surviving, but on the following turn, Horus falls to an Air Slash. And now, it's all down to Kyle. The situation is this. We outspeed and can bring her down to at least half with Ice Beam, so it's a guaranteed 2 shots. However, Togekiss has Aura Sphere. It can't miss no matter what. But even then, at this current moment, I didn't even bother calculating it. All I had was just hope. And that's all you really need. Survive. And with that, we conquered the run, but also all the odds. Absolutely speechless. I couldn't believe that actually got through that fight. Granted, if I didn't get crit by Lucario, this would have been not nearly as close, but I'm happy the way it ended. Even if I lost, I felt proud that I managed to make it through with one of the hardest challenges so far. And I hope to continue this small journey through New Nova, or even an easier game, because I don't want another heart attack dealing with such difficult trainers. But let me know what you guys thought in the comments, and obviously subscribe for more. Sorry if this video took so long, I was getting a little overworked. But of course, more adventures are sure to come. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye!